Hi, I'm Evin Shutt, Global CEO at 72andSunny. We're coming to you live from Stagwell Sport Beach at the center of the Cannes Lion Festival of Creativity, where we're celebrating the intersection of sport, culture, and fandom. I'm joined here by my friend Beverly Jackson from Zillow Group. So let's get into it.
Hi there.
Hi, thanks for joining me.
Of course, it's so exciting.
Beverly, we love seeing partners shine. Tell us what's going on, what's exciting about Zillow.
Oh, wow. There's so much happening this year with Zillow. Thanks to our friends at 72andSunny. We've got this amazing new campaign that's going on right now. We just launched it a couple of weeks ago. And so it feels like now we're starting to launch our campaigns right after Cannes. And so it's a great opportunity to come and sort of tell the world a little bit about what we're doing. But we started this campaign this year called Home Just Got Real. And it's based on this insight that home ownership right now is really tough. Not impossible, but really tough. And so we're sort of leading with empathy and meeting the customers where they are and helping to tell that story. And so there are these very real, authentic, true to the experience, true to the customer experience stories. And we're really excited about that. The campaign just rolled out a couple of weeks ago. It's doing really well. And quite frankly, I think you're going to see more and more of that from us, because from the work that we've done with 72, like leaning into this insight, what we've effectively done is found the sweet spot of being able to tell these really powerful, empathetic, impactful stories that give the customer hope and inspiration, as opposed to sort of wallowing in the, oh, it's bad out there. Because it's not impossible. It's all doable, and home can be real.
Yeah, I love the work. I feel like the best work is when it relates to the real center and the truth. And I know we're still getting all the actual data and the results in, but to hear all the anecdotes from people of, this was my experience, I feel seen, is so exciting to see for the brand.
It's so interesting because several of the pieces, and even just in the time that I've been here, people have said, oh my God, I saw the new work. It's amazing. It made me feel, it made me tear up. I felt the hairs on my arm prickle. And I'm like, that's good work. Like, you know, when good work makes you feel something, then you've done your job. And drawing out that emotion is really a testament to sort of the insight that people are feeling a sort of way about their process right now. And we want to recognize that. We don't want to walk away from that. And like leaning into that and making those stories as real and authentic as possible to folks and where they are is good. It's really, really good. It's so interesting. From the moment the team said home just got real, and then they just let it sit there, we were like, that's it. That's it. That's exactly right. That's it. It was good.
It's often the most obvious thing, and it just like, why haven't we done this before?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, because we're meeting the moment. That's what good partnership collaborations look like. We're meeting the moment. And so that's what this partnership has been about.
Yeah, well, you've been an amazing partner. But that's not all you're doing, right? So you've got this piece running that's about the truth of home ownership, what it looks like, the journey to it. And then you're also playing more and more in culture and sport. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So a second insight. So Zillow draws lots from like consumer insights and industry insights. And so since we're such a data focused company, one of the things that we found was that the audience that we're hyper targeted on right now, which is effectively first-time home buyers, they tend to be Gen Z and millennials, younger and older millennials. So focusing on them and their journey led us to believe that culture sits square in the middle of how they engage, how they interact, what their expectation is. So they want a company like Zillow, who they trust and they love and they know, and has kept us number one in our spot. But they want us to be resonant in what their lives actually are like. And so culture and cultural moments and the cultural zeitgeist have become very important to what we are focused on. And so you've seen us do over the last 2 years, you've seen us do more and more things with sports. And it's evident by my inbox on LinkedIn and my email box, we're getting inundated from lots of brands and leagues and teams and athletes who this is really connecting with them. And so they want to work with us, right? They're familiar with Zillow. They've seen the work, but we're doing more and more things in the space that allow us to show our customers where we fit into their lives at a broader intersection. And we want to be where they are. And sports is without question one of those important touchstones in their lives. Like whether it's, a particular league, the NBA, the NFL, MLS, MLB, the teams, WNBA, those teams, the talent that's part of those teams, the the cities that connect to those teams, that cultural resonance matters to our consumer. And so we're leaning more and more into that, but being very thoughtful and very intentional. And we don't want to do, and what our guidance has been from our team at 72andSunny is don't do a peanut buttering, don't spray and pray, like literally just sort of focus on things that will actually make a message impactful to the moment, to the time. And so we're doing some of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I love to see it. And you hear the rumblings of it, and
Yes.
you're hearing people talk about Zillow in a way you didn't hear people talk about the brand 2 years ago.
Well, it's so interesting, right? The brand has always sort of been at the forefront of culture, and people talk about it. They spend so much time on Zillow, which is what's kept us number one, right, in our space. But we don't want to ever take that for granted. And so we want to continue to sort of like be on the tips of everyone's tongue. We want to continue to be in places where you don't expect us to be, but it feels natural and authentic, right? I talk a lot about authenticity. And so for me, it's not just that we show up and like, hey, look at us, we got a big sign, or hey, look at us, we've got a big activation. We want to be in places that feel thoughtful, that feel authentic and intentional, and the partnerships have got to make sense for us. So that's the way we think about it right now.
I love it. Well, it's showing up and how the brand shows up and how people talk about it, right?
Absolutely.
No one's saying, why is Zillow doing that?
Exactly.
It makes sense.
Exactly. You're so
great
right.
job. It's really good. Well, what are you excited about being here at Cannes and about trends in the industry?
Oh, wow. So
There's just a few.
there's like a few.
Small question for 9 a.m. Sorry. Yeah, whatever time
Coming
it is.
in hot.
It's early.
Look at 72, coming in hot. So I think what I'm really excited about is that Zillow is and has always been a performance-based marketing company. We've always been a company that centers itself in data and insights. And good marketing people have found that trend as well. Yeah. We can't do our jobs anymore, just sort of like put our finger in the wind and see which way the wind is blowing. You know, good marketing is all about art and science, and we've sort of previously like leaned heavily on the art, and now we're balancing it with science. And so the role of generative AI in terms of writing copy and developing creative and using that information to help power our insights, really powerful. Also using consumer insights and data to help tell the right stories and make sure that we're using the right medium, being smart with our media spends. That's the kind of sort of like intersection of information I'm looking for here. Obviously all the culture stuff, excited to meet all the athletes and figure out what they're doing and where our stories align, but really the data, where we're going with generative AI, sort of where we're going with just like more data and insights fueling the stories and performance-based marketing media. That's what it is. That's a lot. That's a lot.
It is, but I do think it's all rooted in data ultimately. And I think there's times where being a creative agency, people be like, oh, data. We love data.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to have it to be a good storyteller, and it's a great jumping off point. I don't think it's an either or.
I totally agree with you. And there's a difference between being data inspired and data led, right? And so we try to be as data led as often as we can. And sometimes we'll get an insight or a nugget, and you'll see that in the creative process as we start to evolve. We love hearing our customer stories. We love hearing our partner stories. And then we take that and we marry it with the data and trends that we're seeing in places, and we get it hyper local. We think about the national trends. We talk a lot about the macro because, you know, the macroeconomic issues are impacting us, but we marry all that together with the creative power that comes from Zillow and 72. And I think we got a good story to tell.
Oh, for sure. I just also love the bravery and the confidence that you have. Tim Ellis from NFL last night was talking about a lot of marketers leading with fear these days because jobs are hard, and you know there's a lot of factors that play into it. But I think you're a client that is leading with bravery of this is the direction. It's based on data and the instincts of this is what's right for the brand and for our customers.
I think there's something super interesting about that, right? Because it can be fearful right now. People are working outside of their comfort zones. People are scared of performance and how your company will be doing, and we're thinking about the business. You know, we can be, as marketers, be thinking about the business from quarter to quarter. Here's the exciting part, though. When you know your customers, when you know your brand, and when you have data backing that story, I think it's a winning combination. It doesn't mean that everything that we do right is gonna be right, but like, you know, my president, she said to me at the beginning of the year, she says, we do a lot of talking about the things that we did right. She says, this year, I wanna hear about more things that went wrong. And I love that sort of executive freedom to be able to do just that. Because we're going to get some things wrong. We're going to fail, but we're going to think big and we're going to move fast. Because that's another part of who we are at Zillow. And so, like, things that come up, we're going to take those opportunities, we're going to take those risks, we're going to take those big swings. And if we miss, that's okay, as long as we learn from them.
Yeah, we just have to we have to be honest when they don't work.
That's right.
And talk about why, and not pretend that they did, or try and find the data to justify. But
we call it the happy seal clap. It's like, oh my God, that was great, clap, 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 clap. And we're like, none of that. Like, that didn't really work so well, or we could have done that better. Like, even things that we're doing this year at Ken and how we're showing up, it's like, you know, if I'd had another 6 weeks, I might have done things a little differently. I might have approached something a little differently. I might have been thoughtful about it a little differently. I think we did a good job in preparing to be here, but I'm going to make the best of that time. But next year, when we think about it, we're going to add more resources. We're going to think about it differently. We're going to show up earlier. But we never miss an opportunity to have an opportunity to show up. So
I love that. Well, and that's just part of what makes you an incredible partner. And so fun to work with too. And so I think we love working with you, and curious why you think it's different working with 72andSunny.
Oh, so I've been doing this at a fairly high level and in consumer tech for about 20 years. I have a lot of agency partners. I think what makes a good, strong agency partner is honesty and transparency, clarity of brief, and a sense of adventure and some courage around the creative. And so 72 brings all of those to bear every opportunity. We don't always agree with the ideas and the concepts that are presented to us. And sometimes they miss the brief. And sometimes we go back and we're like, we didn't write a very good brief. We should do a better job of writing this brief. Or we bring 72 into the business. You sit in on our deep dives and our industry trends call, and you're like deeply learning about our industry. And so we love that. And I think that's what makes us good partners. I think the open collaboration where we just are throwing things on the whiteboard. And a lot of this is done, quite frankly, over Zoom. Like, we have regular in-person meetings, but the way our creativity and the exploration of the work has begun to sort of really blossom over the last 2 years, a lot of that's done remotely, but we trust, we have respect for the ideas. I think 72 has a thing that says, disagree with the idea, not the person, or be respectful.
Kind on each other, hard on the work.
Yeah. And so I love that. Like, and so we're like super kind to each other. We all respect each other. We respect the ideas that we bring. And we always start every meeting with those 72 isms. And then we bring the Zillow isms, like think big, move fast, and customer first. We bring those things to bear, and 72 brings theirs. And it always is rooted in like what's right for our consumer.
Thanks so much for the conversation. That's it for now. Be sure to follow Stagwell and 72andSunny across social to catch up on all the action from season 2 of Sport Beach. Thanks, Beverly.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.